Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to On Loose Lines. I was going to say something else then for a minute, and I would have got myself into a lot of trouble. Daniel Hibberd joins me. Firstly, Daniel, hello.
Hello, Paul. Good to be back in the confines of the studio at home because I haven't been here for a few weeks, and good to be back.
Fair to say we've had it a little bit relaxed too at the minute. We've been able to just sit back and wax lyrically, which we haven't been able to do for a little while in this show, which gets us a little bit unorganised, fair to say. Would that be fair?
Yeah, we've both been pretty busy with everything that we're doing at the moment, so it's been a bit crazy. But tonight's a good night to relax and sit back and watch the trots there at Shep, and we can talk all things harness, dogs, everything.
Absolutely. Now, if you're watching this on my YouTube page, please hit subscribe. The more viewers I get on that, the better off I am. I actually get paid for it, apparently, if I can get over a certain amount. Not worried about that. It actually makes it a lot easier for clubs and that to be able to do bad manners. That wasn't it, Daniel. Do a lot of things when we can get over 1,000 subscribers. So, yeah, we're about a quarter of the way there, 3/4 of the way there. So, please, I encourage people to hit like and subscribe, especially if you're watching this on Twitter and you don't like Facebook, which a lot of people don't. That's fine. Just go and flick over to the YouTube channel and watch it. Or you can go to campbellscomments.com, go to my live stream apps and go from there. Daniel, you're going to have to hold fort because I'm in trouble, because I just realised something very bad and I'm going to be in all sorts of trouble. You've got no power. So I'm going to see if
I've got no power. You've got no power.
I've got no power for you. I'll be back in 1 sec, mate. Very, very big problem.
All right. Okay. Leave me hanging here. So we've been having. I don't know what he's doing. I really don't know what he's doing. He's obviously lost power somewhere along the way. I can see he's come back. What have you done?
Right, we're back.
What have you done?
I didn't plug you in.
You didn't plug me in?
No. All of a sudden, my little computer that comes through with Daniel says low battery, and I'm like, oh, damn. So, yeah.
Before we went on air, seriously, you were so happy with yourself. You were fist pumping because you got stuff right. We go on air, and the whole show just about goes off the air. You are thinking.
I'm an expert. That's all you've got to do is go from there. Anyway, as I said, please, if you're watching on YouTube and you enjoy what we do, just flick over and hit like and hit subscribe. Apparently, if you hit the thumbs up too, means a bit for me too. Just starting to get across a lot of these things as we go. And we learn what's going on from there. There's no hassles there. We've got quite a few people on track watching us. Philip Wood, he's watching. Noel McNulty. Now, we mentioned Noel's name in a bit of the pre-rehearsal too. Well, hopefully we're going to see you, Noel, at Bort on Sunday with your bells on and with the rest of the boys. Luke Ralph has joined in. Good to see Luke. Hope he's dried out since sunny Hamilton the other day. It was amazing. I'll tell you what, they say Melbourne has 4 seasons in one day. At Horsham the other day, I reckon they had it within 3 hours. The only thing they didn't have was snow, but they had everything else, and we will cross off on that. If you're watching on Facebook, please get involved. That's what the idea of this show is. Myself and Daniel just having a little bit of fun. We'll keep you up to date with the trots as they go along. We just had a trot race go on at Shepparton. Daniel, can you tell people who won the race just before?
So the third race was won by Double Helix for Kate Hargraves and Jack McKinnon. Got up on the sprint line, but it went straight. The one that didn't go straight was Come On Carly, as it tends to do when it gets a little bit tired, wants to wander out to the middle and the top half of the track. It's only got beaten 1.5 metres or 1.1 metres in the end, and really, to be fair, if it keeps a straight course, it probably makes a race of it. But Jack and Kate get the win there. Come On Carly second. Fire and Grace was third for Mark Lee and Stacey Towers. This guy was having its first start, and it had trialled very nicely at Shep previously. So no surprise to see it run a good race there tonight. So one to follow from the trot race already tonight.
No, definitely. And Stacey's going to be featuring a little bit later on as well. Have you noticed the message?
Yeah, I did.
This is what happens. If people request stuff, it happens. So don't you worry about that. That's how we get involved. And I hope he's watching, because it was almost instantaneous that happened. The hat won't be staying on for too long. I get a bit claustrophobic inside because it is so big, and you don't actually realise and go from there. A bit of green screen happening on Trot's Vision as we speak. Now it's back. It was just a little bit going there. Oh, Kate Jones, who's got me doing a gig up north, and I've got to do a bit of promotion with Kate very shortly. She thinks I look much better in this hat too. So, have I paid for it yet, Cambrai? No, I have not paid for it, and will not be. We will give a quick shout out, actually, Daniel, to one of the regulars that does get on here, and I doubt that he'll be on tonight, but Peter Amirio. I noticed on Facebook this morning that his father passed away, so our condolences to the whole family there. Albury Harness Racing Club put a nice little post out too, so our condolences to Peter, and if he is watching, you don't have to get involved, mate. You are one of the regulars, and we really appreciate what you're doing going from there. So, our condolences to you and the family, and well done to the Albury Harness Racing Club for making people aware of that, I suppose. There's always the way it goes. How's your week?
Probably at the trots, actually, because he's in the 6th race, so he might not be watching, so he's probably at the track.
If he's like Alex Early, he should be watching as she's at the trots.
Possibly.
Yeah. They only have the
we should get onto Haig and get him to put it around all the TVs around the track.
Right, we could do that too. Don't you worry about that. The safety specialist 0400 309 902 for all your apparel for the yearling sales. Yearling sales are coming up. Don't worry about that. And Daz Aiken, who has been on there, said a safety specialist cap will look much better. Mate, I reckon all my caps look better, but everyone seems to like the big hat, Daz, so I don't know what's going on there. Make sure you get in touch for your yearling sale apparel. Also, if you need to get test and tags and anything else like that done. And Daz, good to see you finally thinking about getting down on the knee. That's what we need to do. Justin Lane is spot on. I did need this hat on Sunday because it needed it for...
It would have provided good drainage.
Well, there was one stage I would have been in trouble because we lost a couple of umbrellas and that. The wind. We'll start off with Horsham. I feel for Horsham Harness Racing Club. They had some great initiatives planned and they got through most of them. They did a really, really good job. Smashed by the weather. When I got there, it was as muggy as what it is now, Daniel. It was horrendous conditions. There was no worries there. And I'll get onto that, Daz, in a second. It was horrendous conditions as far as sweat and hot. Then all of a sudden the breeze started to pick up, and Justin Lane actually said to me, he said, this wasn't meant to start until about 6:30. This wasn't. He said, this is not a good sign. And talk about someone knowing the weather. He was spot on. The Marquee mine got under a bit of pressure, fair to say. It was pegged in pretty tight, but it did get under a bit of pressure. The table I was sitting at nearly launched. It was nearly gone. And you could see the black clouds, but all the locals said there wasn't much in it. Well, if that's not much, I don't want to live in Horsham when it absolutely comes down because, they had everything. So I do feel for them. They had some great initiatives going on with some owners for the day. In the last race, Daniel, they went into a draw and everyone got a horse allocated to them, and that person actually got to take home $1,000. So they got to pick out a marble. Each marble was allocated to a horse. Whoever got that horse was allocated. So it was terrific. What they were going to do was get everyone down there, get a photo with the horse so they could have a memento. It was just not possible. I've got to say hats off to everyone there. I forgot the lady's name. I'm going to call her Buttons and she'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Her name's just left me. I can picture her face and everything. Justin might help me out, but she did a great job.
This just happens every week.
Running around behind the scenes.
You are shocking with names.
I've got to try it. I don't know how come I get a job with a microphone.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're going to do that. So unfortunately got hurt, but at the end of the day, they still got to have the experience, and it was very, very trying conditions, but at least they got the photo, and I'm pretty sure the winning owner, Helen, thank you very much. It's good to see. I'm glad Justin is watching. So, yeah, well done to Horsham Harness Racing Club. Definitely trying different things. And I will give a big plug. I've got some things coming up, but the 14th of March, Daniel, which is a Monday, of the long weekend, coming up, Horsham, smart thinking, they've got their Trotters Cup, Woodlands Trotters Cup. Bad luck, Cambrai. I've got to look after the sponsors. The Woodlands Trotters Cup, and it's been a time-honoured event that they've sponsored for a long period of time, is going to be on with their Invitational Drivers Race Series for Decron, which they've had for a long time, all Victorian only. So that's going to be on the 14th of March. One, if you're in the area. If you're not, make sure you nominate it. There's great incentives for people to nominate their races. If Justin's watching, he might be able to tell me if it is penalty free or not. I can't. I've got a lot of computers, but I haven't got them with me to know whether it is penalty free.
Ratings exempt, it says on the calendar.
Great. Yeah, so that means you don't do it, get a point. So if you win a race, you don't get a point, which is really, really good. Plus, I'll look after you on the day with giveaways and the likes, plus the drivers. So it's an all Victorian affair this year, and going to be a lot of fun. Plus, they've got their Trotters Cup. Do you know why they moved their Trotters Cup?
No.
Team Teal night was the night before their pacing cup, so forward thinking said they're not going to get the trotters. So hats off. You got to be flexible in this day and age, and
you got to look, and that's the thing. You do have the club's got to look at the calendar when they get the draft, and they can see what they're going to be up against. And I mean, they'd have probably struggled to get 6 horses really for if they were running on the Sunday, particularly when you've got they had the Group 1s on the Saturday before. So very smart, and it probably fits in really well with the public holiday. Likely to get a good crowd there for the races, which is a really smart move, and it should be that cup race should be a good race.
Beautiful little venue, green grass as far as you can see, very, very comfortable. And all jokes aside, everything was good until the weather turned. But yeah, it got very ugly, unfortunately. I had to do it with a microphone and trying to hear Luke through the PA and then be able to talk back to him. I'm sure it got a bit clunky at the end, but hopefully we did the right thing. And I got the sponsors wrong. It is the weekly advertiser, Horsham Pacing Cup. I got it wrong half a dozen times, so apparently I was told. So yeah, they're waiting on a couple of bottles of wine, they said. I'm like, yep, good luck with that. So that's fine. Troy Harley's joined in, mate. We're going to Horsham Cup on Friday night, so for the Pacers. For the greyhounds, sorry.
What?
The Pacers.
If they were still running the cup there, she'd be pretty tight going.
Back to the Pacers for 1 second. Great cup. It was a good race. The track played very, very fair because your leader, who I thought was the best bet of the day, led and won. But the Phoenix Prince, actually, Des Aiken, he's there watching, was a great return to form. He led the 3 wide Congo up, and the other Emma Stewart horse was third, was on his back. So it was a very fair track on the day, all things considering how hard it was blowing, how wet it was. Winners were coming from sort of everywhere, and I think well done to the track curator and everyone that was able to keep the meeting going ahead.
You're a little bit exposed there with the track there at Horsham. It sort of hasn't got a lot of protection from the elements, so it when you get days like that, it can certainly be detrimental to the track and so forth. But they've done a remarkable job. It was a good race. Quite incredible to think that 2 years in a row Emma Stewart's trained the trifecta of the same race. Like, it's pretty. I know last year there was a very much a smaller field, and it was probably a bit more of a disappointing race, to be fair, that they went pretty slowly and sprinted home. But full field, and she gets the trifecta. And her other horse, did she have another one in it? No, she didn't have another one in it, so she only had the 3 in it. So it's a fair effort to train the trifecta, not only of one cup race, but to do the same cup 2 years in a row is even more remarkable.
Demon Delight was the horse that ran third. It comes to me just seeing Jackie Barker, who won the last race on Team Teal night, which with Icicles. So well done to Jackie and all the girls with Team Teal. They're doing a good job, and we will cover off on that. Philip Wood said it was an outstanding day put on by the Horsham Club. He got to be an owner for the day. He picked the wrong billiard ball, and I can throw a little bit of cheek at Philip because he was the second last one to pick. You know who got the winning horse? The lady that didn't get a choice. So everyone else picked the wrong one. So it was pretty funny. Daniel, the one in this race coming up
at Shep.
Yep.
Blue Ocean.
Trained by
Glenn Bull.
Thank you very much. Another mental blank for me for a minute. Isn't he having a good run? He trains a little bit differently too. He's having a good run with a small team of horses.
He's having a good run. He's, I go back to my days growing up in Donald, and he was up at Lake Boga, and the only horse. It's amazing how horses sort of stick in your mind. But I mean, the horse that he had that just sticks out, and he was certainly no champion by any stretch of the imagination, was Cheveldon. He was a massive, massive horse.
Yep.
He was just a huge lump of a horse, and he used to go around pretty much every week. And Glenn used to race him around the place, and that's my memories of him. Certainly growing up when I was a teenager, sort of thinking, I just always remember that horse.
Yeah, you're right. And because he's such a diminutive person, he actually made it look bigger. And back then we had the longer cart, so you're a lot further
Yeah.
away. And yeah, I do actually vividly remember that. You're spot on. So yeah, it was very good. Peter Doyle sent us. Where was Peter Doyle's message here? Somewhere. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you two are really well. Good to have you back, Pete. Obviously, you finished the night shift. Darren Aiken, as I said, the smartphone solutions. This race is starting to hot up. What are we about 400 metres to go? Who's in front, Daniel?
I think it's Janali who looks like it is Janali, number 6.
Looks to be gone at the minute.
Craig, hey.
Looks like it's gone. He got up it a bit, but it might have got to go.
It'll keep plugging on its outsides. Lombo, I believe, it'll keep plugging away, and it looks like Hey Josh and Co's the one out 3 deep on the track.
It's getting a bit willing to say the least.
There's not much from first to last here. Tell you what,
Taylor
half a chance if he gets the sprint lane here.
I think Taylor French will beat him home though. She should anyway. So is that Mark Pitt driving Turnbull's horse?
Media, it's coming through. I tell you what, if this horse wins, I could throw this computer through the wall. You have got to be kidding me. Bloody hell.
No bet I gave her. You didn't.
No, but it's just I've been following it, Janali, forever and a day. And it always runs good races, just never is able to win. And it looked like it was gone 400 out here, and it's kicked on and won. I officially give up, really.
Now, Daniel, that's Mark Pitt drove that horse.
He did, yes.
I need you to stall for me a minute because there was a great achievement at Horsham in the first, might have been the second race. No, I think it was the first race. Mark Pitt drove the winner. I'm just trying to get it. The gentleman's name is Ted. I'm not going that bad.
Trevor Dummett.
Oh, Trevor Dummett. Sorry, you're right. Trevor Dummett. Great little story because for 20 years he left harness racing because his wife was ill and unfortunately passed away. And he trains in Snake Valley. He's got great ties with the Burnses and the likes. But he trained that winner it was his first winner for 20 years. And I've got to say a big thank you to David Brio because you can be made look good sometimes when you're doing trots vision, but he came up and he told me, and he asked me just to give one plug, and that was to the Courier Mail in Ballarat, one of the best Ballarat publications. So I can do that, David. I did it on trots vision, but I must say well done to him. But great little story. He's 82 years young, and basically, in his own words, he was wasting away. So he went and got himself a horse and started training it, and there was some great embraces afterwards. There was a few tears. I think it meant a hell of a lot to a lot of people. It was a really, really good day for some of those winners at Horsham, especially early on.
Yes, only had the 4 starts, and obviously had its first start at the start of February. So it's had 4 runs in the month: 6th at Terang, 6th at Melton, 7th at Geelong. Each time in those races, it's been an outsider in the market, and $3.70. And was it favourite? No, he was second elect. 157.3. Got to the lead. Great to see. They're the stories you love. Like it is a hobby sport for a lot of people, and some people that haven't been in the sport for some time getting back into it. It's good to see those people get rewarded with a winner here and there.
No, it was really, really good. The second race was won by the Trot. You're going to help me out there as well because I've gone off my page as well. But
the Trot was the third race.
Third race.
Graham Whittle.
Who won the second race before I get on the Whittles?
Paul Warnock and James Ferguson
Yes.
with Double Happiness.
So there was father and son. So the first 3 races were all father-son combinations. Paul and his father were there, and his daughter was the first time she'd been to the races because of COVID. So it was her first time going to a race meeting. So they got a winner. So they were very, very happy. And then the next race, the Trot race as well with, help me out again, Whittles, the Graham. And Graham was so rapt for Matty because he works pretty hard. He does a few jobs, and Matt was very, very happy as well. So, it was a good day. Some really, really nice winners on the day. So I think it was really well done by everyone involved. Rightio. So I quickly got over him. Safety Solutions, Darren Aiken, 0400 309 902. But he tells me, that's for if you want all your safety apparel, your hats and the likes. But he says here, new website launched today. You think he might have put the website attached to it so I could give it a plug? We'll just see if he's still watching.
We'll see if he's still watching, yeah.
And Kelly Mitchell put me 4 spewing up faces. I'm not sure if that was in regards to getting down on the knee and proposing or something else I might have said, but I reckon it might have been the latter.
Possibly.
Possibly. Go back one night at Melton, huge night of racing for Team Teal and the likes, and it was just good racing. Again, Daniel, on that card, there's some good winners spread around. Beck Morrissey, Icicle, and then also some big names with Majestuoso winning very, very well.
Yeah, that the Grand Prix was a good win for Majestuoso. Obviously, it was, I guess, marred a little bit by some interference and so forth, and there's still obviously some that's still all being played out. I think Sunday, I think, is supposed to be the restarting of the hearing there. So, it was a disappointing to see it. I mean, in the end, it proved to be a classic finish. There wasn't much between them, but obviously that interference did sort of mar it a little bit. But Majestuoso, I was probably one to just knock him slightly, that I was a bit worried of, that he was a bit vulnerable at times, but he's just gone to another level at the moment and just winning everything that he's in, and he's doing a super job. And I'll just quickly have a look at he's just short of 600,000 in stake money, and he's won. What's he won about? Nearly 280,000 since the start of the year.
It was indeed. Mum's watching.
Actually, 300,000. 301,000 he's won. He's had 6 starts, 5 wins, and he's won 300,000.
Unbelievable, isn't it? He's a lovely. He is a ripper little horse too. He's a undersold. I tell you who else gets undersold, I think, is although a lot of people don't, but Kate Gaff. I mean, she gets on the best horses, but gee, she's driving good. That was a clever drive. She knew she was in trouble if she didn't skip, and she skipped at the right time, and it turned out to be the winning move. Forget what happened behind. It still was the right move at the right time. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, and look, as I say, she seems to get the best out of Andy's trotters. Doesn't matter which one that she's on. She just seems to be able to make them run, and that's the most important thing.
She wasn't at Horsham. She doesn't like her Sundays, but she probably could have picked up a drive there or that. And she's not going to Port either. I think she's having a couple of Sundays off. We'll cross off on Menangle. It was last week was a good meeting at Menangle, though. There were some good races. All in all, King of Swing, though, all the detractors from the Hutter Cup probably have to eat their words, because he did it tough. He did it bloody good too, didn't he?
Yeah, 147.9 and just got over Bundoora and JOK. Look, and he goes into the Miracle Mile with another good draw, but he's. I was thinking about this before. He reminds me a bit of Haylist in the gallops. I mean, Haylist used to run against Black Caviar, who just used to towel him up. But in his own right, Haylist was an absolute gun. In any other era, he would have been, top draw, probably the best, one of the best we've ever seen, but he was always running into Black Caviar. This guy just is a bit similar in the sense that he just doesn't get the credit that he deserves when he's winning races. He's just 200 Cups, Miracle Miles. There's really not much else he can sort of do to say, well, what else do you want on my resume? I mean, he's that good. I don't know what it is about him that sort of makes people think that he's not one of the best we've had, but it's starting to get to the point where people might be starting to look a bit silly by saying that he's not.
See, I don't punt, so I just see him as a superstar. I just think he's and I watch him afterwards as someone who loves horses and does the industry because we love horses. The way he poses after a race and stands, it's Lonhro-esque. There's just something about him that's just, he is dead set. Look at me. He's got showboat about him all, but he, like anyone that showboats, as long as they can do it, it is all very, very good. We've got a few questions coming up here. I'm going to go with Mark O'Hare. So Mark owns Belittled, and the question is, why doesn't Ballarat have a sprint lane? And yes, I do know why, because we didn't get the run. The reality is the run possibly wouldn't have been there because people drive it differently. I'd love to know who would like sprint lanes and who wouldn't. Happy to put it in the comments down below. Even after Belittled not getting the run, I don't want sprint lanes. I want every sprint lane shut and go from there, because I think racing would be so much better. And as silly as this is going to be, I think it would help a horse like Belittled, because people would jockey for positions so the speed would genuinely be on in all of the races. Whereas he's one of those horses that when the tempo rocks out of a race, he loses his advantage, and so it makes it harder. He might not always get the run, but he'll always be finishing hard, and that's one of my bugbears. So, Mark, more than happy to put it out there, and yes, it was very frustrating to say the least, but that's okay. And no, Kate drove it. Yeah, again, we say about Kate, she was wobbling up the track. She was all out with Dancing with Sierra, heard the footsteps, looked over her inside shoulder, and shut the gate. The run wasn't there for me. There's no bad blood from my point of view. Don't worry about that. The run was potentially going to come. And Kate's like, nah, that run ain't coming, boys. You can just sit there and run third. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, very, very frustrating. Mum's aware you've got a different shirt on tonight too. She didn't see me. No. She didn't see me with it on last week, did she?
Well,
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, she never mentioned it with me. So yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd pull out the merchandise. So you're wearing yours, all your merch. So thought I'd better put mine on.
Have I got a shirt on? Have I? I didn't notice.
No, your hat. All your bloody.
Didn't know. Mark Lee's watching. We said Stacey Towers watches. Good to see Mark. Good to see he's got a nice third anyway, guys. Now, where is he here? thesafetyspecialist.com.au. All the W's, thesafetyspecialist.com.au. Daz Aiken, check him out for all his clothes. I'm sure he's got them on there. I possibly could get cheeky and try and find it, but I won't. I'd just rather just kick back and make sure I have everything else going along nicely here before I do anything else wrong. So got through most of our questions, but yeah, don't be scared to fire in some in regards to that. Yearling sales, Daniel, good to see the people in Perth have a huge, the APG sale just recently, they had a huge sale from one of my great sponsors, Woodlands. 9 out of the top 10 lots were Woodlands bred horses, not born and bred, that's for sure, but they were born and bred, and they're having a huge sale. That's equal top the sale in New South Wales at Warwick Farm, and then they, as I said, 9 out of the top 10. I think about the 4th or 5th horse was by Always Be Mickey, and then the rest were theirs. But some really, really good results, which is really good. People can't travel, so it makes a big difference that if people can't travel, they, I suppose, have that little bit of more money that they can spend. Probably a bit frustrating from everyone's point of view that the Victorians or anyone else couldn't get over there. They were all bought by West Australian people. They could have been bought online, but yeah, very, very much centric around Western Australia, but well done. And it's good signs for harness racing that apart from Melbourne, the blip, hopefully it's all onwards and upwards because we need strong competitive sales, that's for sure.
Yeah, you want to make sure that the horse population, the racing population is, continues to get filled up, is that those that sort of reach the end of their careers and go out of the system, and we bring in the new ones, the 2-year-olds that come in next year. So good to see that there was good sales numbers, and it's very, very important for the industry.
Warwick Farm is on. You'll pay for that. APG is at Warwick Farm this weekend. It's actually Warwick. Do you know that? All this, you say Warwick, but it's spelt Warwick. W-R-W-I-C-K.
Don't murder the English language again.
But it's Warwick. That's how.
I know what it says.
I couldn't spell it. I'm trying to tag it into things, and people are going, "No, it's not that way." So I'm like, "Well, don't say it's Warwick. It's Warwick." So that's okay. It's Warwick Farm. Corey O'Donoghue, who's so that anyone may not be aware, I have a phobia of frogs, and fair to say, I had one in my car the other day when I was at Lisa Miles, and I must say a big thank you to Corey because he went and got it out, no questions asked. I think because I was welling up and had tears in the eyes, I think he knew that I was legitimately in a bit of trouble. So yeah, that's it. And he says, "Well done on the trials, Dan." So yeah, that day's over. But you must give a plug for that for someone looking to start a race calling career off.
Yes. So haven't been officially told, but it's pretty much certain that I'll won't call in the trials at Shep on a Thursday night going forward. There's a couple of Tuesdays in March which we'll probably try and fill the hole whilst we try and find someone to fill the shoes. So yeah, calling the greyhounds at Sandown each Thursday night, the Metropolitan meeting going forward. I've cut back at the hospital as of this week, so back down to a couple of days a week at the hospital, and the rest of the week's filled with race calling. So the roster's got me going all over the state the next few weeks, but the one thing that's locked in is calling Sandown each Thursday night, and really looking forward to doing that. There's the big launching pad series, which kicks off. It's actually a slot race. It's actually a slot race series where they have to buy their slots. The dogs can't have had any more than 30 starts and won any more than 6 races. So it's a lot of young and up and coming dogs that can eligible for it. $150,000 final. I think it's the second week of April. So really looking forward to calling each of the Thursday nights from now on. And yeah, who knows what'll happen after that. But can't thank Shepparton enough for the opportunity that they've given me. It's got me to where I am now, to Macca and the team, and still looking to probably do the radio show here on 1FM every Saturday morning. But certainly, if there's anyone that's looking to do some calling, I've had a couple of feelers from a couple of guys already asking some questions about it. But if you are keen to have a crack, you won't come across a better production of trials. It's the best by far. The way that they do it, the way they're videoed and everything like that. So look, it's a really it's been an absolute blessing to have that opportunity over the last 2 years, and I'll still be floating around the traps, but it's certainly an opportunity for someone to have a go at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the way they do the trials is first class. Little backhand, Bacchus Marsh don't publish their trials at all. You can't get any videos of them, and they tell me they're some of the best trials going around, so I'm not sure why they don't do that one. And Ararat Harness Racing Club, I went to do some searching for a couple that had trialled at Ararat just recently, and their YouTube link's not up either, so they may not be aware of that, or they may, but I know Bacchus Marsh, it was common knowledge that they don't put them up, and I think it's essential that we get them up for clarity. Just off my YouTube page, this is one of the trickier handles I've ever read, Daniel, but Robert, this is his Twitter handle. Robert, fantastic singing, great song, Shelley Zurich. Is his Twitter handle. I'm serious because it comes up quite a lot. It's actually, and he comments quite a lot. I don't actually know you, Robbie, but thank you very much. He's watching from Adelaide, so I appreciate him typing that, taking the time to type that in. It's an unusual handle, but it's his, and I have absolutely no worries at all with that. So thank you very much. So as I said, if you're not on Facebook, you want to be able to watch it, you can go to my website. You can't put comments on website, but if you go to YouTube or you go to our Facebook page at Campbell's Comments, you can watch us live and get involved in the conversation. Rightio, some reason, because he's from Adelaide. Danielle Hill, were you across what she did on the weekend, Daniel?
I did hear it. I need to refresh my my memory a little bit. I did hear a couple of things, so you might have to enlighten me.
Well, I believe at one stage she had driven 8 straight. I think she drove the last 4 or 5 at Adelaide on the Saturday night, and then Strathalbyn she drove the first 4 the next morning.
She drove the first 3.
3, and then maybe...
First 3 at Strathalbyn. I'll go back to Globe Derby.
Margie Watson's watching. Marg, we'll get on to the Pacing for Pink. Don't you worry about that. We're ready for you. And Shane Gallagher, hello to you, Shano.
She drove the last 4 at Globe and the first 3 at Strathalbyn.
7 straight, and then I think Michelle Phillips might have won the 7th at the fourth.
The 4th at she did. Yeah.
So the Team Teal girls were going sensational because, as I said, Jackie Barker won the last at Melton on that night as well. So I think a lot of the tracks would have gone to sleep with the Team Teal girls excelling. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, it's been an amazing couple of weeks. Well, I know it's been going for a little bit longer than a couple of weeks, but you seem to notice it a lot more over the last fortnight or so. And I know that builds up to Teal night there on last Saturday night, but they're seriously driving a lot of winners, and it's really good to see. And hopefully that'll flow on into the change of colour when they go to the Pink Pants in May.
Yep, absolutely. We can go straight onto that, Daniel. We can go back to there, but we will make sure that people are aware. So that is on the May the 8th is the main day, but it's for the month of May. Every every club, every state, sorry, except for Queensland had committed, and I think we can let Queensland off if they haven't committed this week because I think they've got a little bit more stuff going on their plates. But I believe that they
there's just a couple of things that have sort of interfered with Queensland at the moment.
Yeah, but they will.
Has to do with water.
Yeah, we will let them go. But every other state in Australia, Western Australia was on last year, and we've got Tassie, South Australia, and New South Wales have all committed, and they will be. So the same thing, Pink, and people can sponsor a driver. So this is one of the key things. If you want to get involved, and if you've got a business, the Safety Solutions, he may want to sponsor one of the drivers going forward. It's a great way to get promotion out there, and we're going to try and keep ramping it up so people can don't just get a sponsor on the side of your pants. We're going to try and get it out there a bit differently too, and make people aware of who's sponsoring who. And say thank you for a start, but also build it up from there. So that is for the month of May. That is Mother's Day on the 8th of May at Shepparton. Make sure you book. There'll be tables with umbrellas. It's going to be terrific. Donna Castles. I donated my time last year. I think, Daniel, you're going to be doing the same thing. We'll have a microphone. We'll be doing raffles. I'm not doing it all day. I'll be hoarse by the end of it. I don't know if I'm getting into pony trot either. I couldn't walk for 3 days after that, so because my backside was dragging on the ground. But lots of fun happening, so we want people to be aware of that and get involved in that. That's the Pacing for Pink Day at Shepparton with everyone involved to raise money, money for breast cancer, more for the nurses that look after a lot of those ladies. Is that right, Daniel?
Yeah, it is. That's what the McGrath Foundation has sort of really done over the course of their existence. There's obviously different organisations that raise money for research and so forth into finding a cure, but the funding from the McGrath Foundation predominantly is for the breast care nurses, which go around and look after those people, those women, and I guess men as well, that suffer from breast cancer and the going through treatment. And it's certainly doesn't come cheap, and the amount of money that I've been able to pump into paying for nurses to do what they do over the course of the last 10 years, probably longer, I guess. It's quite remarkable, and our industry gets right behind it, and I think they'll continue to do that for as long as they can.
No, absolutely, and I think our industry does a pretty good job with most of those things. Daz Aiken, I'm sorry, I actually wrote it on my screen wrong where I activate it. So it's not the Safety Solutions. I always thought it was a bit of a silly sort of name. It's actually the Safety Specialists. I always wondered what that was, but make sure you go to safetyspecialist.com.au and go from there. And Luke Ralph's chimed in there that the CDR, the McGrath Foundation, it touches on a lot of people. They helped, couldn't do enough for mum. So, yep, well done, Luke, and glad that mum's going better. And I think there's a rare opportunity for, if you're interested in a business, I think the Inglewood post office is for sale out of interest. I think you can go and sit down with the Ralphs and discuss it, and if you want to buy a post office, there's a chance there. The Inglewood, I'm serious, I saw it on...
I know, yeah.
I'll probably get into trouble for doing it wrong, but yeah, I'm sure it's via interest. Luke might chime in and give me an answer to that soon, but I read random things. I read a lot of random things, so don't you worry about that. But yeah, that is for the month of May, but the Team Teal goes through to the middle of March. There'll be plenty at Bort, there'll be lots going on there too, and if you're going to Bort, yep, so it is. I wasn't totally wrong, Daniel. Luke's responded. It is, yeah, if you're interested, by all means, get in touch with the Ralphs and go there. So I don't know if you can type in inglewoodpostoffice.com and that comes up, but just try something. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but that'll do. Rightio, yearling sales in Melbourne. I have to do, I haven't got one of my hats. I know where it is too. It's just going to have to stay there. Melbourne on the 3rd of April is coming up for Nutrient and want to make sure that people are aware of it. Plenty of lots on offer, about 150 lots on offer. Daz Aiken has actually got one. I'll see if I can find what lot number it is while I am going. But there is also 70 trotters, I believe, on offer. 25 of those are from the Harasta Trotters, which is one of my sponsors, which the hat, Daniel, is in front of me and I can't reach it even with my feet. There is no chance of being able to reach it. But what they have done for the New Zealand people, so they have got 23, I believe, now paces left in the sale. Unfortunately, 2 have been taken away. But and there is a traveller's rebate, so $500 per $10,000 you spend. So terms and conditions are on their website, or they have a booklet out as well. But pretty much what you're reading there is word for word. The rebate will be $500 per $10,000 spent, and it's capped at $5,000. So if you spend $100,000 on a trotter from a Harasta Trotters and you want to send it back to New Zealand, $5,000. I think it's about $7,000 to fly a horse out. So you have to put up $2,000. So great little incentive. There is a 60-day cooling off period in that. Read all the terms and conditions properly. But I think that part is really, really good for people going forward and going there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That sale's fast approaching. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of yearling videos and that. Going forward, Daniel, did you have anything else off the cuff that I didn't have anything up there for?
No, they're at the start for the next at Shep while you're sort of thinking of what's coming up next. But first look at the quaddie, and the favourites Wendy's watching for Clinton McSwain and Rodney Lakey at $2.50 for the favourite, $4.20 on a bender, $4.60 for Flame Lady is next best. Then Miss Artemis at $6, and they're scoring up.
Yeah, they are indeed. Mark Watson just chimed in there. Top work. We don't need to do that. We'll give it as much airtime as we can. Mildura Harness Racing are planning great things in May, so watch this space. Competition's risen. I know Luke Ralph's got a good association with the guys at Ararat. Ararat done some big things last year. By the sounds of it, it might be game on. There might be a bit of competition, which is always good in this space because it makes for a little bit of fun.
I think that's what's probably happened with this day. Pink Day, which was always at Cobram there for quite some time, and it's gradually got bigger and bigger, and now it's really an opportunity for other clubs that want to run their own particular event. Obviously, the big day will be at Shep, but if the likes of Ararat and Mildura are looking to run some sort of event, it can't be denied that it's going to make the day or make the month even bigger across the whole of May.
No, definitely, and that's what we want to do. Make sure, and it has grown a long way since a little inception of one Toby McKinnon walking around in a skin tight, horrible suit. But anyway,
didn't he wear it? He wore it last year, didn't he?
He got it extended because he might have filled out. So I think he might be in more trouble this year. So anyway, we won't worry there. At least he didn't wear black jocks underneath it this year. So he did have jocks. But anyway, that's okay. I believe Margie's already booked the hat. The hat will be there. It might have a lot of pink on it going forward. Who's in front, Daniel? Before I get back to Daz Aiken.
It is Flame Lady for Mick Belmont out in front. On its outside is it looks like Glenn Bull's up on the outside with favourite highlights.
Yep.
No, 3 deep. Sorry.
Yep.
Here's the one underneath it. I can't.
It's only little Clinton McSwain's horse by looks, is it? No. Colours like Clinton McSwain's. They are Clinton McSwain's.
It's hard to read the number.
Clinton McSwain's.
Clinton McSwain. Yeah. It was really difficult. Oh, it's a blue. It was hard to read the number. But it's Flame Lady in front. Now Wendy's watching's cowing out after it. Ducking back to the inside was Punt for Pleasure for Rodney Petrov.
Here's this angle at Shepparton. You are joking.
Here comes Glenn Bull on the outside. I think Glenn Bull might have won this. It's a terrible angle. It is the terrible angle at the best of times.
Cameraman's gone to him.
The cameraman's gone for the Glenn Bull. He might have pulled this one off here. There was 5 of them at least in a line going to the finish.
Yep, it does look like he's got there. While they're waiting for them to get to the line for you, so you can get to it. Lot 142, sorry, is Catch Our Racing Group as the consigners. I'd say Glenn Bull's got that because of that angle, but it may not have actually.
No, I think it has.
It's a shocking angle. We're not going there. We'll leave that angle alone.
The photo will come up in it. It'll probably won it by about 8 metres with the angle.
Lot 142, of course, is by Majestic Sun, a brown colt out of Claudie's Princess. Now, Claudie's Princess, of course, 2-year-old trot of the year, 3-year-old trot of the year, Australian trotting mare of the year. Doesn't say how many Group 1s. There's quite a few of them there. Only went 155. Just a mare.
Only.
Just a mare.
Only.
Just a mare. $400,000 in stakes. So that will be part of the lower long draft. I will be videoing those on March 22nd. Kath McIntosh has got me there, so I'll be going up after that. But I'll definitely catch up with you, Daz Aiken. But there's plenty of horses, and Kath McIntosh actually has a couple that are related to that. I think one's out of All Finesse and one's out of one of the other Claudies. So there's quite a few related to that, as some of those trotters that are in the upcoming sale for Nutrien. What I'm going to do, Daniel, is my week coming up, because I've got everything going on. One, I'm going to Bort Horse and Greyhounds on Friday night. I believe you're going to be there.
I'm calling the Cup on Friday night, which is so Thursday night Sandown into Horsham Horsham Friday. So could be clocking up the miles in the car. Probably stop in at the folks at Donald, I reckon, to stay the night there to catch on with a bit of Z's. But looking forward to what's going to be a good race there at Horsham on Friday night.
I'm going into Carrick, so I'll be there live streaming it, not front of camera, behind camera. But I'm going to Carrick Yearling Sales on the Saturday to MC. I want people to be aware there's quite a few lots. I'm going to do an interview with one of the guys from there to promote it tomorrow. But that will be on Saturday. Starts at 2 o'clock, so it starts at a new time because they've got a speedway right next door and no one checked, and the speedway's on at the same time as the yearling sale. Not sure that would have worked.
Oh,
that's a true story too. I'm not making
that's nasty.
I'm not making that one up. That's a true story. And then on Sunday, Bort Cup, the first race at Bort is at 1:44. Last race at 5:15. Throw you under the bus. What time's the Cup? Just before
the
5.
Cup
Must
is
be
at
about
4:28.
4:28. 45 minutes between races.
For the last two, yeah.
Tune in to Trots Vision. I will be there. Kirsten Graham is actually inside. She doesn't know what she's in for because, she put her little hand up and said she might go in fashions on the field if her dress arrives. I don't care if it doesn't arrive, Kirsten. You volunteered. You're going. So a lot of fun at Bort. Plenty going on. People in Bendigo.
Are you going in the fashions?
I don't know. I don't think the year's been kind to me. I pick on Toby for his...
He's never kind to me either.
Let's pick on Toby for his clothes. I'll have to see what I can do with the cowboy hat. If I do, I'll be with the cowboy hat.
You've got to wear the cap.
Yep. Won't be with anything else. I can promise you that. I might have to try and find some boots or something to go with it and see how I go. Yeah, what the hell? I'll have a bit of fun.
Mm.
Last year I shamed everyone else into it. I can't believe Joey Thompson beat me. I think it was rigged. But a lot of fun. Lots planned. And if you're on Trots Vision, I can promise you I won't be quiet because John Campbell gets his pound of flesh, that's for sure. He asks a lot, but it's a good day of racing, 7 races and plenty of intrigue, I suppose is the best way to put it, Daniel.
Yeah, the 2 feature races there, the Trotters Cup and the Pacing Cup. Just before we go on to that, Glenville did win. Favourite highlight, $13 on the fixed odds. Punt for Pleasure was the outsider, got second. Wendy's Watching was third. Miss Artemis was fourth. They went 1:59 for the mile right over the sprint trip. The Cup, look, interesting. The most interesting horse in the race is Free Mark's Poetry for Courtney Slater. Mick Bellman's taking the drive. This mare's got a ton of ability, but has obviously got had a lot of issues. She's had 13 starts, 8 wins, and run second on one occasion. So she either wins, or she runs last. Basically, she was pulled up in her last run, which was back in May of 2021. Prior to that, she hadn't started since December of 2020. So and that was in the Vicbred, the 4-year-old mares series. So she's got she's had a lot of issues. Obviously, I find it interesting that they're going to Bort. It's tight track.
Daniel, what horse are you talking about?
Free Mark's Poetry.
In the Bort Cup?
Trotters Cup.
Oh, I was like, I'm in trouble. I can't find it. Rightio. Sorry. Now we're right. I'm on the right screen.
Get with the program. Good okay. Lord.
I'm only emceeing the event, not like I have to know where all the horses are.
Yeah, exactly. Look, so it's interesting that they've gone to Bort. At her absolute best, she'd win it easy, provided she could get around the track. But you would expect that, they wouldn't be putting her in it if she couldn't run around the track. So she's certainly the most intriguing runner in the race. Obviously, the McNulty pair really do, and they really do look like they're going to be really hard to beat, even though they are off 20 metres. The ones that are off the front is probably the only one that I can really get wrapped up in would be Show Me the Muller, who won nicely at Wedderburn 3 runs ago. But Chizzy and Travel Bug, I mean, but this is their bread and butter sort of racing. This is what they love: standing start, long distance trots. I think it'll be whoever gets the best sort of run is going to be really hard to beat, even though they've only they're coming off 20. But it's a good race. It's a competitive Trotters Cup. The Pacing Cup.
Hang on one sec. I'm going to throw one at you. If he steps, who's counting? Loves the distance. Tight track will suit him. Just poking along out in front, he might make it hard. But he does. If he does miss it.
If he gets to the lead, it'd have to be some sort of chance, particularly if he could get to the lead and just run along, make it hard for those out the back chasing. He's run a couple of fifths at Melton the last couple of runs, so have to be a place chance. But I'd want to see him in front.
Yep. And then race 6 is the Councillor Neil Beattie. Neil will be working the bar. John doesn't. You sponsor a race, but you still got to work your backside off for the day. Bought Pacing Cup at 4:28. Daniel.
It's a even field. There's really not a Obviously, the one that beat's going to be one too many for Russell, Jack, and Lee Sutton, coming off a victory first up in the Albury Cup. Went 3.3. It had a couple of I think it had at least 2 or 3 trials at Shep prior to that run. He'd been entered for a couple of races and been scratched, so they obviously weren't really happy with him. So he got to Albury. He didn't go super time, but he still won. He's got a lot of ability, and I think he'll just get he'll get better with racing. He's probably the one to beat. You'd expect him to be able to handle Board. If he can handle Albury, you'd think he can handle Board. If he gets to the front, he's going to be really hard to beat. I thought my mate Tomo was really good at Terang winning. And I think Bralos Pass is probably going better than its form would suggest. It was a good effort at Wedderburn in the Cup, and then ran 5th behind one too many in the Albury Cup. I know it's got the outside of the second row, but if he gets any favours, he's certainly got to be a chance. But I do think one too many is going to be pretty hard to beat in that race.
Nah, definitely. And as I said, all roads there. There is APG yearling sales run that same day in New South Wales. I was wondering why Nathan Jack wasn't driving that horse, but I know why, because Nathan will be at the sales, possibly putting his hand up or not. You wouldn't know with Nath, but he'll be going from there. I had a good little chat with him. He's going good. I saw some pictures of his face. I saw one. Someone showed me one with him on his hospital bed. They reckon that was as bad as it got. And so Dan Malecki alluded to it at Ararat that he was unrecognisable. He wasn't lying. He was unrecognisable. It was just horrendous. So he's doing.
I haven't seen any of the pics, but I'd heard a little bit about it through work and things like that, and it wasn't pretty and it wasn't good, and to think that he's back driving now is testament to his recovery skills, but it wasn't a good incident, that's for sure.
Saw a little stat the other day. I think he'd had 22 drives and won 2 Group 1s and 2 Cups.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
It's quite impressive. And he's just the race before, there was I'll just quickly bring it back up on the screen. It was the second race at Shep tonight. He won the first. He won the first with Have You Met Daisy for Matthew Martin, and he drove it. He beat Dad. Quiet Queen ran second, but he won it by a fair margin. But drove that one really confidently. And the second race he drove, Lasting Bond, he was held up for a long time and got it to the outside. If the race had been another 20 metres, he wins the race.
Yeah.
He's just, I know he's been out for a very long time, but he certainly hasn't lost any of his skill and his driving craft, that's for sure.
No, neither's Mark Pitt. He drove a treble at Horsham as well, so we got including the Cup, and then we saw one other race. He drove a winner tonight as well. Menangle, very, very quickly, we'll get across onto that for the minute. But good race meeting. They got a good cup, $50,000 for the the Aquagate Equine Centre Trotters Mile Cup over 1,690 metres. Couple of Victorians, but really it's probably a little bit disappointing from their point of view that they put a race on for 50,000 and there's actually only the one, which is Credit Master for Matty Craven.
Yeah, probably a little touch disappointed that none of them did have gone up. But in saying that too, a lot of the Victorians have been racing in. We've obviously had the Great Southern Star, the Grand Prix. There's been Cup races, so it's probably a lot of them have been going around in that series. Those series of races. So to then want to have to float up to Sydney, might have been asking a little bit much. So I understand why there might not be too many Victorians in that race, just given how the calendar sort of played out.
Fair to say, I just looked at the Australian Pacing Gold New South Wales Derby Group 1 event. The Vics didn't fare real well in the draws all night. It's not just a Miracle Mile, is it? They got shafted a little bit, as much as some of the Queenslanders too. Tim's a trooper. He was awesome the other night winning. I loved his win. But yeah, leap to fame drawn out in 8 as well. There's nothing to see here, but they did okay. The New South Wales people, didn't they, in their barrier draws?
Well, you go through the barrier draw. You've got New South Wales, and you've got Victoria in 4. New South Wales, Victoria, New South Wales, and then Queensland, Victoria, Queensland. So the New South Wales ones just drew the better barriers, just slightly.
It's interesting, the name of that being the Australian Pacing Gold and the ownership in number 10. Might be a bit of poetic license. I won't get involved in it. We'll just leave it alone. But yeah, it's one of those ones. Good free for all for horses that didn't get in. Stylish Memphis, should she have been in the Miracle Mile, Daniel?
Oh, probably. It happens every year. I mean, it's it's an invitation race. It's always going to cause conjecture. I know that there's obviously there's guaranteed winners can get in, but or guaranteed races that you win to get in. But probably can consider herself pretty unlucky, I guess.
Saddest part about that race, if she doesn't win, people will say, well, she didn't deserve her right. It's over 2,400. It's a totally different race
totally different race.
So you can't even say that. She's taken on the boys. She's taken on some really, really good boys too. A horse like Max Delight just not really getting the luck of the draws and things like that. So, I think you can't even say that. A horse like JOK, hasn't he just grown into a beautiful horse, I must say. So 888 for Greg Sugars will look after the Victorians as well. Miracle Mile, really interesting race. Unfortunately, King of Swing drawing the pole. Probably takes most of the interest out of it. But from a Victorian point of view, if there's any speed on it in it at all, you want to hope to see the likes of Bondi Lockdown, Better Eclipse, getting over the top of them. Even also like a Wildfire potentially, if the speed's on, and with the like a Wildfire needs to get a run. But if the speed's on, looking to see those horses get over the top of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit similar to what happened in the Hunter Cup. The marbles have sort of fallen in a way that might make it a little bit of a little bit hard to sort of see, a great deal of speed and tempo in the race. Could be completely wrong, but look, the way Bondi Lockdown's been going, I mean, he can really only be the only way he's going to win the race is if he can make it a real test, and that's getting up on the outside of King of Swing. Now, I don't know whether Aaron will be wanting to do that to really testing himself against King of Swing, but look, it's a very good field, but again, the draw's probably just made it a little bit less intriguing than what it could have been.
Absolutely, good field of horses. They finish off with a country race there for all their locals. Daniel, two things. One, we feel for some of the people in New South Wales at the minute. I was talking to Louise Toolman just before coming onto air. Alana, her daughter's there with heap of horses going to the APG sales, plus race horses and the likes. They believe they're going to be locked out. They'll probably, by now, they're locked out. There's a bridge they've got to go across, and I believe they were going to be locked out from that. They had to get out leave their horses, so they're not sure when they can get back in and whether she can get her horses back into the sales complex for the weekend. And I imagine she's not the only person. She's just the only person that I've been made aware of with that. But I believe that also, depending on what the water does, the meeting might be in trouble. So, for the people in New South Wales, you just got to really feel for them.
Oh, in Queensland as well.
Yep.
I mean, that whole side of the country's just been like deluge of water. Like, you hear of a year's worth of rain in 3 days. Like, it's incomparable. You just can't believe that that's possible. But when you see some of the photos of and vision of the water, it's crazy to think what it must be like up there. I mean, there's a couple of photos I've seen. There's one of the horse at the soccer club standing on the so there's steps going on either side, and then there's a flat bit on the top of the steps in front of the change rooms, and the horse is standing there, and there's water lapping the top of the steps. Like, the horse has somehow got up there. But
and he ain't moving. He ain't moving.
He ain't moving. He wasn't moving. I think there's the McDonald's sign in Lismore, which is on a massively large pole, and you can sort of see how big that pole is. The water's basically lapping up to the bottom of the M. It's just the amount of water that's gone through there is ridiculous. I mean, I know I posted a video on my Facebook page on the weekend. We got a storm cell here, which didn't hit at Mooroopna North. It didn't hit anybody else. A lot of my friends, Tatura, Tallygaroopna, and on the other side of the river at Bumbartha there, hardly got anything. Well, my video just should have showed what we caught. We got 30 mil of rain in 20 minutes. And I mean, that was great because it's, greened the paddocks up. It's brilliant. But I mean, it pales into insignificance as to what's been going on up there. And the amount of rain that's fallen and where the water is, and you feel for all those people. And I saw a couple of photos too of Albion Park. It was inundated with water. I know that water's now receded, and obviously they've got to do the clean-up and the repairs and everything like that to the track. But yeah, we couldn't possibly comprehend it in this part of the world how much water that they've got.
No, definitely not. And Garrards do not sponsor me. They don't do anything at all with me, but we used to do, how I started on these was a show called Before the Races, and they used to sponsor that. They actually, are sponsoring the Miracle Mile there as well. But you must make sure that people buy for those. I mean, they are a Queensland-owned company. They're not local in any way, but I'm sure their stores are copping an absolute pizzling right at the minute for damages and the like. So please, if you're going to buy stuff, look after your locals, Stewie Abrams and the crew, but don't forget Garrards as well when you're going out there and making the choice to where to go. Horseland Benny, I'll get into trouble from Kylie as well. So she's not a sponsor, don't worry, but she does look after my daughter extremely well. So she's probably a sponsor of my daughter, so I must make sure I look after her. Daniel, that's about it. A bit of a wrap, only an hour. We didn't do bad this time, mate.
Yeah, trimmed it down, which is good, but looking forward to tomorrow night and Friday night at the Dogs there at Horsham, and looking forward to the Cup there. And then I have absolutely no idea what condition you're going to be in on Sunday. My phone will be off, so don't ring me. If you have to row a boat from Tassie to get back, you might be in trouble.
No. I'm looking forward to it, and as I said, keep an eye out for Tassie Racing, and I'll keep that promoted as well. But it'll be fine. Tune into the Trots Vision for Bort and go from there. Daniel, thank you very much for joining me, mate. Bit of fun. We don't do it overly hard. Thank you to everyone that's got involved. Make sure you look after yourselves and that for this week. Stay safe, and everyone in New South Wales and Queensland, please stay out of the floodwaters, and hopefully everything goes well. But mate, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, mate. See ya.